Saw the bag, that's why I brought it up. Sitting right there. Alright, 6.2 and 6.3. You're not gonna like 6.2, but then when you see 6.3, you're gonna go, 6.2 is not so fucking bad. 6.2 is on the binomial distribution. And 6.3 is on something called the Poisson distribution. It looks like poison, but it's got an extra S in it. Some French do. The stack crunch command for either of them is going to be stats calculators. One of them will say binomial, and one of them says Poisson. That's handy. Same pattern. Just like 6.1 had stats calculators custom. It's all down the same tree.
Is this on that page, is this on the, I
That's-
printed that out,
You printed that out?
yeah, I could just.
I thought you'd like that.
The big notes.
Val showed up on Saturday. Oh, she did the whole granny,
Stop.
it's fucking great. Alright, binomial distribution. So there are some requirements that must be met. Requirements to use a binomial distribution. Bi is like bicycle. What does that mean on a bicycle? Two, means two tires on a bicycle. Binomial here means two mutually exclusive outcomes. Only two. Now you can almost always word any problem in terms of two. Even if we're rolling a die and I go 7, what's the probability of getting a 7? I can say 7 or not a 7. So that's two different groups, even though there's really 10 different outcomes you can get, 11, I don't know. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. B. The trials or experiments should be independent. C. Probability must stay the same. Another way we say that is it's fixed probability. Or constant probability. Which means I can't do one experiment and then the next experiment the odds have changed. Every single time I do it, it has to have the same probability for each outcome. Now, outcomes don't have to have equal probabilities, but they just can't change. And finally, D, we need a fixed number of trials. And fixed means the same thing here, as in we have a set number, no more, no less. So like A is like, we could have like win or lose. Roll a 6 or not roll a 6. Something where we can break them into 2 different categories. The categories have no overlap. In outcomes. There's no overlapping between winning and losing. There's no overlapping between rolling a 6 or not rolling a 6. See, the biggest one you're gonna see this effect. Is. Probabilities with cards is something you gotta really watch here. If the card is replaced each time. Probability stays the same. The card isn't replaced. It doesn't. I didn't even say anything. She started reading and then she looked over guiltily. Like, I wonder if he's watching me read.
I'm just gonna get prepared.
You ain't gotta lie to me. Jeez, girl. You gotta lie to kick it. Alright, fixed number of trials. N needs to be a number. I can't say. First person to 3 wins doesn't count. World Series, they play until a team has 4 victories, right? Sometimes that takes all 7 games, sometimes that only takes 4. If it was 7 games every time, that would be fixed. It's not. The World Series can end after 4 games. So you can't do it on that. If I wanted to see. If I was going through like test scores and going, like, and looking at homework and going. Like, how many people did like 90% of their homework and did it affect their test score? If I wanted to go until I found 10 people that did 90% of the homework. I might find that in the first 10 students. But I'm probably not. I'm probably not gonna find it in the first 20 students. Probably not gonna find it in the first 30 students either. 90% is a lot of people just tap out, don't do it. I haven't even looked to see what the homework rankings are at right now. I never do because people are always playing catch up right until the midterm. What are you doing?
Here my gum.
Oh, God. She fucking pulls out a piece of paper, starts tearing it out, I'm like. Like, if you need Kleenex or something, go grab some tissue paper or something, don't use paper. Blowing your nose with fucking writing paper, Ross, that's not fun. So. Who here doesn't like Stack Crunch? You know this is a loaded question, right? I know Val doesn't like Stack Crunch. Is it getting better now that you got the little cheat sheet?
Yeah, actually.
Stack Crunch is saving you, does anyone need that up longer? Okay. It's the work Stack Crunch is saving you from. This is the formula. By hand. for binomial distribution. I want you to know the suffering that you are avoiding. Probability of x is n choose x times probability raised to the x power times 1 minus probability raised to the n minus x power. Yeah, this is good times. Stack it, and that's just that's where x equals a specific value of x. That's not even counting probability with like x is less than or equal to x, or x is greater than or equal to x, where you have a whole bunch more to do. That's just doing one of them. Stack crunch is your friend. Believe it or not, this thing's a pain in the ass. All of this shit's a pain in the ass in Excel. Excel will do it if you take the time to learn all the commands in it, but they're not fucking friendly. Stack crunch is a nice little drop down menu. Excel is not. You gotta like type in a fucking formula and know wherever, like put the formula, put commas in and go, know what goes in each box, and it's just it's a mess. It's a hot mess.
We get to use the step.
Yes. That'd be fucked. Let you do stack runs on the homework and then tell you to go fuck yourself for the midterm, you gotta do it by hand? That would be mean, that would be really mean, that would be uncalled for. I like how you think.
Stop playing.
What?
I know.
It was her idea.
It was a question, not a suggestion.
What we see from this, though, it tells us what we need. This does tell us what we need for stack crunch though. We need n, which is the number of trials. We need p, which is going to be called probability of success. And x will be number of successes. Success here is very much what perspective you're looking at. When playing roulette, if you hit your magic number, if what was it? Was it 13, Val? Was that your number? Val spins one bet and she hits the 13. She's like, that was a success. But I guarantee you the casino doesn't consider that a success. So it all depends really on what you're looking at, what you're calling a success. Sometimes success is a bad thing. You might be looking for a number of deaths or something like that. Someone dying isn't a good thing. Well, it depends on the person. It does. There's a lot of evil people out there that the world's a better place if we don't have them. That's why we get vigilante justice. Val's probably fucking Catwoman and I fucking going out holding some ass. Let's do some examples that we'll put in stack crunch. Actually, let me show you formulas first. In case stack crunch doesn't compute them. Because later on, we will want to know that the mean is n times p. That's mean. And standard deviation goes by the formula, it's the square root of n times p times 1 minus p. It's not the friendliest formula, but if you've already got mu, you're almost there. It might calculate mean, but it may not do standard deviation, I forget. We'll see in a second. Example. 35% of car owners have 3 or more cars. We sample 20 homes. To see if they have 3 or more cars. I say 3 plus for 3 or more. Before I gotta start going into questions. Will this qualify as a binomial distribution? Why? Okay, so the first criteria was two mutually exclusive outcomes. If we can label them, we're good. We could have 3 plus cars. Or we could have less than 3 cars. Those are 2 outcomes, there's no overlap, that's met. Is it independent, or is each trial independent? Now, assuming you're not just going down the same street and asking 20 houses in a row, you're like picking them from all over town, yes. Because chances are, if one house has 3 or more cars in it, you might be in a nicer part of town. And other houses on the road might have 3 or more cars too. It's just like the area you live in, there are good. Ritzy parts of town and ghetto parts of town, in every town. Tulare, it's got ghetto parts and really nice parts. Visalia, I don't know. Like, I don't know, there's some really small towns there. Does Pixley have a ritzy part? I haven't seen a ritzy part of Pixley, but they might. Farmers have ritzy property, they always do. They got nice houses. Farmers make some cash. So assuming you're checking different parts, yes, that one's met. Does the probability change? Or is it the same? What's the probability of success? %35. Or to use this in the thing, we need it as a decimal. And we don't know, that's the only piece of information we have, so that's what we're using. So it's not changing. So that one's met. Finally, do we have a fixed number of trials? What?
The 20 one?
The 20. N equals 20. Yes. So what is the probability? That exactly 5 homes have 3 or more. Now, if we were doing this out by hand. Well, first off, what is n here? I think we just said it, n is 20. We have p equals 0.35. What is my x here?
Three plus.
No. Good try. Oh, even Krista got stuff. Krista got it. It's the number of exact homes that we're looking for. Since it's exactly, it's gonna be equal, x equals 5. Now, what we're dodging doing by hand. This would be probability that x equals 5. Of 20, choose 5. 0.35 to the 5th power. And 1 minus 0.35 to the 20 minus 5 power. And it's not actually that bad in a calculator, but. Oh, fuck it, let's do it in a calculator. I got 20, choose 5. And I'm gonna multiply it by 0.35 to the 5th power. And then I'm gonna multiply, I'm gonna do parentheses, 1 minus 0.35 parentheses. 20 minus 5 is 15, so to the 15th power. So this is telling me if I do this by a calculator. Well, you don't want to do that by calculator every time, especially when we start having the inequalities in there. This gets tedious. But doing this showed us what we need for stat crunch. So while you guys are done finishing writing that down, I'm gonna go and get that motherfucker loaded. All right, you guys ready to see this problem in stat crunch? Does anyone want the sub number? Going stats, calculators, binomial. Can I say anything?
Lights are on.
Krista, stick your hand up. Stick your hand up. Wave it. Stand up and wave it. It's very much loaded, locked in like to the center of the room. Someone in the center, you want the lights on, so you're right better. Someone stand up and wave your arms in the middle. It's motion censored. Oh shit, apparently it gets it by the door too. Another room, you have to literally get like in the exact center of the room before the shit starts happening. So we're doing stats, calculators, binomial. There was literally so little movement in the entire room for long enough that the lights turned off. All right, so it gives us our n spot. Our n was 20. We had probability of 0.35. And we wanted x equals to 5. We put in the 5 here, but it actually defaulted to 5 for some reason. That was convenient. But notice we have a list of things to choose from. We want the equal one. Notice that the only red line is the line that's on 5. Pay attention to the red lines, it'll tell you what you're doing. If you think that you're doing less than and you do some shit like this. And you see all the red lines are higher than, that's not less, that's more. So you've got your inequality wrong. But isn't that what we just got on our calculator? Real easy, right? Stats, calculators, binomial. All you gotta do is enter in NP and X and the right inequality symbol. Hello? Put the right symbol here, click compute, does all work for you. Handy. I'm gonna go back to the page and we're gonna set up some like 2 or 3 more problems on this. Then we'll come back and look at them, yeah.
There's questions that how do you transfer like a decimal to a whole number? How do you do that?
Transfer a decimal to a whole number?
Yeah. I'm not sure, maybe I'm wrong. But I,
Is what's on the homework?
yeah,
When you're doing the homework question, do ask my instructor. And that way I'll send me the question, I can look at it and I can give you an actual response.
okay.
Cause that was vague. Which is fine, it's easier if I see the problem. Alright, I'm gonna go back to this and we're gonna look at some more yeah,
Man, I got a text from the school right now, we got evacuation over there.
And so I just got the same thing.
Yeah.
for where? Does it say by cellular?
I says. It says evacuate the premises immediately. Says classes have been canceled tonight for a possible threat.
It's canceled. They don't say where. Sorry, Arturo, class is canceled.